We have confirmed $931 stimulus amount available, part of the Doge Dividend check. We're going to go over those $5,000 Doge Dividend checks, give you the latest updates. For example, right here, we have $931 of that $5,000 so far. Let you know what this means for a Doge Dividend check. Also, we have new updates on who qualifies, when it's coming, and what we know. We're hearing the latest from James Fishback.
The year. So why give away $400 billion to people, which means now you are back in debt. You're giving away $400 billion you don't have to give away.
Let's stop taking the taxpayer for granted. For 50 years, people send money to Washington year after year. There's nothing to show for it here in America, but all these boondoggles in foreign countries. If it means taking a slight percentage of that and sending it back so we can increase the trust, confidence, and accountability between the taxpayer and our government, that's worthwhile. We're not giving them money. We're giving them back their money that they had just sent to Washington.
That was the creator of the Doge Dividend check. You can see there with Dr. Phil. I'll play you that video clip. Let you know the latest regarding stimulus for 2025, what we could expect from that Doge Dividend check. And I'll give you some other important updates as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these stimulus updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more stimulus updates. So, is a Doge $5,000 stimulus check coming? Here are the reasons you may not qualify for the dividend. Also, we got this one. Who qualifies? When's it coming? What we know? Well, there is new information out. We'll go over this as well. The $150 billion saved so far, $931 are available right now, which I think they should just cut a check for $931, send it right now. We may not see the full $5,000, but why not just send that $931 right now since it is available, supposedly. But first, let's take a listen to James Fishback on this Doge Dividend check of $5,000, talking with Dr. Phil. Then I'll go over all this information.
Tell me if I'm missing something here, because you're much more embedded in this and closer to it than I will ever be. I'm reading online people freaking out that Doge is looking at and making cuts regarding Social Security. That's the headline. That's the panic headline. Doge cutting Social Security. But if you go past the headline where everybody's going, oh my God, now they're cutting Social Security. My take on that is what they're doing is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from Social Security, which in fact gives greater life to Social Security, which gives greater security to Social Security recipients, where it looks to be headed for insolvency. This lengthens the time that you can project Social Security be alive without having to do some kind of overhaul of it. But I mean, the headlines are saying they're doing cuts in Social Security when in fact they're streamlining Social Security, getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, so the money that's in Social Security goes further, protects more recipients, and gives it a longer life. Am I missing something here?
You are spot on. Imagine if we had a food pantry, Dr. Phil, in a rural part of my home state of Florida, and every day 100 people lined up to get food, and some people at the end of the line weren't going to get any, even though they were deserving it. But it turns out 10% of the people in the line were committing fraud. They were lying about their income status to have access to the food pantry. The right thing to do for all of the people who are deserving, who are hungry, who need that food and drink, would be to kick out the people who are cheating the system and defrauding the food pantry. It's no different with Social Security. If you want to protect those on Social Security, to protect the solvency of that program, that are hard workers who paid into it for decades can take the money out after they retire, you've got to kick the people off who are committing fraud. That's everything that Doge is doing. That's all that Doge is doing. And the president has made it clear. No one who has a legitimate claim to Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid will be removed. But if you are lying, if you're an illegal, if you're committing fraud, you're out, and Doge will see to it.
I've seen some of the headlines. We just looked at one that said they're talking about cutting 50% of the workforce. Is Social Security workforce bloated? Are there people there that aren't necessary, aren't contributing to administering Social Security benefits?
Absolutely. And at a time now where you have AI call centers, so instead of waiting on the phone for 90 minutes to talk to a Social Security representative about your benefits, your money that you paid into the system over decades, you can now have someone at an AI call center or someone more senior pick up that call and you can get the resolution right away. There has to be reorganization. Clearly, Social Security is not efficient with its current workload because there have been so many stragglers who have been hiding under their Zoom cubicles, their virtual cubicles for years now, not pulling their weight, not doing their work, and holding back what would otherwise be an efficient system. It's not personal. There is no constitutional right to a federal job. If you're not contributing, you're taking away and it's time to go.
Yeah, if that can be streamlined and you can cut overhead, then it seems to me that when you cut overhead and you operate more efficiently, then you're just streamlining and benefits go further. It's a more efficient organization. So I've looked at a number of charities that I had considered donating to over the last 30 or 40 years. And some of them have 10% overhead. Some of them have 80% overhead. And if you give $1 and 80 cents of the dollar goes to administration and overhead, and maybe 20 cents out of every dollar gets to a recipient, that's not a great place to put money. If we can streamline some of these federal programs where it's not all being absorbed with bureaucracy, and more of the money is getting to the people that need it, that are entitled to it. I've seen so many of these entitlement programs not going to people that are entitled to the benefits, but are going to people who get either the money or the cards or the goods, and they turn around and sell them. Right. Those people aren't entitled to those benefits. They're taking them and selling them or returning them to stores or doing whatever. The creativity of people ripping off the government is astounding. If those people would use that creativity working, they would do great.
That's exactly right. They could put those talents to much better use. And to your point is, if you're taking government benefits, whether it's SNAP or whatever, a food stamp card, for example, and you're using that and trying to collect 70, 80 cents on the dollar to sell it off to buy drugs or to buy a new TV, you are defrauding a government program, which means you're defrauding the taxpayer. That is fraud. It has to go. And so that's what Doge is going to do. And to your point earlier on Social Security, there are 60,000 Social Security workers working at the administration. Why? You're sending out checks to people, oftentimes very simply, if it's direct deposit in many cases. So why do you need all that overhead? Why not save that money to ensure that these benefits are secure for decades to come?
I think that they're using this fear-mongering, these fear tactics to get people, oh my God, they're going in and cutting Social Security. No, what they're doing is streamlining the program so it lasts longer. So you have recipients that are more secure for a longer period of time. I hate that they're fear-mongering because that's not compassionate. They're not protecting anybody by doing that. And it just seems to me they're masquerading as protecting Social Security recipients when in fact they're keeping them in danger. They're keeping them in jeopardy of those benefits drying up sooner, where they could be securing them more by having an efficient, lean, mean operation that stretches those benefits out. And I just really hope people will look past the headline, past the initial anxiety, and find out, wait a minute, they're going in and cleaning this up. So those of us that are truly entitled to the benefits are more secure in getting them going forward. And I really hope people pay attention to that and don't just buy off on the clickbait headline, which people are using to scare people away from this. Now, let me ask you this. The original idea that I understood from Doge was, look, we've got a $37 trillion deficit, and we're going $2 trillion a year into debt. with overspending. And the idea that I understood in the beginning with Doge is that, all right, we're going to go in and cut this. So we stop that.
Mm.
Was that the original plan?
Yeah, I think the original plan was to get to a better place of fiscal responsibility. This debt is completely out of control. Under Biden, it went from 30 trillion to 36 trillion. Lord knows how it was actually spent. I mean, think about it. We're spending as a government 50% more per year than we were not 20 years ago, not 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Our budget has gone up by 50%. Ask the average American if their government is doing a 50% better job. The answer is no. You don't go to a steakhouse, pay 50% more, and have an inferior quality steak. And that's exactly what we've been dealt. So that's unacceptable. I think Doge's job was twofold, was to pull back on excessive government spending, but also to streamline the system, because taxpayers and Social Security recipients and businesses and workers deserve a government that is simple, straightforward, and efficient. And so those two go hand in glove. But yes, debt sustainability and government efficiency, I see those as the two priorities of Doge.
All right, if they're spending $2 trillion more a year than they're bringing in,
yeah,
and they cut $2 trillion, then that means they would operate for a year at a net zero. They would not go into debt. They would actually cover their bills for the year. So why give away $400 billion to people, which means now you are back in debt? You're giving away $400 billion you don't have to give away.
So it's an interesting way to frame it. And I think it's a fair question. The way I would say it, Dr. Phil, is this. We're not giving it away. We are giving it back. This was the taxpayer money a year ago or 2 years ago. The average taxpayer will give Washington $270,000 of income tax over their lifetime. And we're talking about sending back just 2% of that. The reason why is you save the money, you give it back for really two main reasons. You have to restore trust in government. Let's stop taking the taxpayer for granted. For 50 years, people send money to Washington year after year. There's nothing to show for it here in America, but all these boondoggles in foreign countries. If it means taking a slight percentage of that and sending it back so we can increase the trust, confidence, and accountability between the taxpayer and our government, that's worthwhile. The second thing is when you go to Walmart and you buy something and you weren't satisfied and they owe you a refund, their excuse cannot be, Dr. Phil, well, Walmart has $5 billion of debt on our balance sheet. We can't give you a refund until we've paid off the debt. They're two separate transactions. Do you want to give Americans their hard-earned money back as a one-time rebate? Essentially, by the way, for every $5 we save, we're just giving back $1. Do you want to give that $1 of savings to the taxpayer, or do you want to send it to China, who holds our debt? That's the choice you really have to make. We're saying 80% of it goes down to narrowing the deficit and paying the debt. And the other 20, the very small minority of it, goes as a restitution payment to the taxpayer. I think we'll end up saving more by having the taxpayer on board by contributing and reporting waste, fraud, and abuse, which means this very thing may pay for itself. Think of it this way. If we were to save $2 trillion no matter what, but we were to save $2.4 trillion because the taxpayer was involved precisely because they were expecting a Doge dividend check, then it would pay for itself right off the bat. And so I would compare those two worlds and say very simply, we're not giving them money, we're giving them back their money that they had just sent to Washington.
What are your thoughts on James Fishback, the so-called creator of that $5,000 Doge dividend check? Agree, disagree? So I think people, me, myself included, are just wondering, I'll believe it when I see it at my account. I guess I would qualify for this check since it's not excluding anyone really. It's taxpayers along with Social Security, veterans. I'll believe it when I see it, but I am hopeful for it. So where did this idea come from? Well, some are saying that it could be as high as $8,000. Then some are saying it could be as low as $2,500, maybe even $1,000. So it looks like there's $931 so far. So why isn't it approved yet? Let's talk about timeline. Well, no law exists. You can hear James Fishback saying there's legislation, he's meeting with Congress members, but there's still no law, meaning that let's say they get to the 5,000 now on the Doge Live tracker right here. If it reaches $2 trillion up here saved, and then this is $5,000. If there's no law in place to send out those checks, since Congress is in charge of the money, we're not going to get those $5,000 checks. So they need to set the law first, have a vote on it. And when it comes to executive action, will Trump take executive action to issue a Doge dividend check to the American people? This is actually lower. Last time I checked, 23% were saying, now it's down to 20%. So I'm not sure. It looks like people are starting to lose a little bit of faith in this. I don't blame them, because we've been lied to so much by Congress. Although this sounds really nice, like you're thinking, I'll believe it when I see it. We want to see some type of traction, something to give us hope, rather than just throwing numbers out there saying you're going to get a $5,000 check. When it comes to public reaction, so supporters are saying taxpayers deserve a share of the government savings, saying it could build trust in federal efficiency and it may ease financial pressure without creating new debt. Right? If the money's being wasted, rather than going to some corrupt politician's pocket, why not give it to the American people? Opponents to this are saying the check is unrealistic without legal backing, saying it could worsen inflation, saying it distracts from the long-term investment in debt reduction. So we're hearing a lot about this Doge dividend check. More information is coming out. Money is being saved. We can see it right here on the Doge tracker. The billions of dollars, 46 billion from the Department of Health and Human Services, right? But we want to see something to make us believe, because if nothing is done in the next few weeks or a month, people are going to distrust this whole thing. If they already don't distrust it already, the ones who support this and believe in this, they are hopeful and faithful. If you lose those people who believe in this already, then the whole country is just going to turn on them. So they really need to do something. Send a little bit. Why not just send a $900 check so far and say, when we get the rest, we'll send it to you? Why not just do that? So I'm going to keep you updated when it comes to timeline, who qualifies, any new information regarding the stimulus. So if you want that, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you appreciate me showing you the video clips, the articles, all that. It takes a lot of time. And that is all the news that I have for today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, it's Bella's tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. Do the things that scare you the most, because after you do that, you become a better person. Bye.
There's a new bill giving out emergency $200 Social Security checks. This is a new bill that's going out of Congress. If you haven't heard about that yet, click this video over here and I'll go over that bill, let you know the details, who qualifies. It's only actually for the year if it passes for 2025, not permanently. So really interesting. Click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.